when the reservoir talks back. Now to the part of this story that is pure engineering and geoscience, because two events in that basin taught the industry a lesson it is still paying for. Go to Long Beach. I've been there. I looked at buying a deal there. Amazing. There's that kind of oil production in this dense of an urban environment today. But go to Long Beach and Wilmington Field. Discovered in 1932, confirmed on a wider structure in 1936, and about 1,000 wells drilled by 1942. The rock holding that crude was poorly consolidated. Think of sand that hasn't fully cemented into stone. It's still kind of loose. And when you pull fluid out of rock like that faster than anything replaces it, then the rock compacts, it shrinks, and then the ground above it comes down with it. Well, it came down 2.4 feet in a year at the worst time of the life of this project. The bowl of sinking ground eventually reached over 20 feet deep, close to 29 feet at the center, across more than 20 square miles. The naval shipyard dropped 5 feet by 1945. Wharves went underwater. The city's own oil department wrote down rail lines, pipelines, buildings. Streets warped. They sheared and they cracked and they were displaced. Damage ran past $100 million in 1950 dollars. Long Beach picked up the nickname of the sinking city, and it earned it. The fix was to put the pressure back. Starting in 1952 and 1953, operators injected water into the reservoir. These operators, those are oil companies. And to hold the ground still, they had to inject roughly 105% of everything that had been taken out or that they had taken out or produced from that reservoir. So not most of it, but more than all of it they'd taken out to get the ground to come up back to the level that it was earlier. And then it took about 15 years of sustained injection before the surface really stabilized, seemingly in 1967. Now, hold that number and go a few miles north to the Baldwin Hills, above the Inglewood field. There was a reservoir up there, drilled between 1947 and 1951, holding drinking water for the city. Its south rim sat within 700 feet of active oil wells. Water flooding at Inglewood began in 1953. The injection pressure at the start of that program was 50 pounds per square inch. By 1963, it was over 850 pounds per square inch. Ground west of the reservoir had subsided 9 feet by 1962. On December 14, 1963, at 3:38 in the afternoon, the dam failed. Somewhere between 250 and 290 million gallons of water came out in under 90 minutes. 5 people were killed, 65 homes were destroyed outright, and hundreds more damaged. 2 bulldozers sent up to plug the breach reached it in roughly 90 seconds after the failure was already running. The cause took decades to settle, and the settling is the interesting part. A 1976 study by the United States Geological Survey concluded that the ground movement responsible for that dam failing was 90% or more attributable to operators at the oil field below. An earlier analysis that had gone easier on the oil companies was revised by a Caltech study in 1987. The disaster went on to reshape dam safety rules nationally, mandatory seepage monitoring, fault surveys, And reviews of industrial activity near dam sites are standard now because of what happened there. Here's what I want you to actually take away from those two events, because this is an outrage and it isn't history. Pressure management is not a side task in this business. It is the business. Every barrel you produce is a withdrawal from a pressurized system, and the system responds by compacting, by moving, by finding a path. Injection volumes and injection pressures are how you keep that system in balance, and they are numbers somebody has to record accurately month after month for decades and act on it when they start to drift. An injection program that climbs from 50 pounds of pressure to over 850 over 9 years is not a surprise event. It is a slow, fully visible, fully recorded trend that somebody had the opportunity to read. That's the honest version. The dam did not fail because of something unknowable. It failed because of a set of numbers that were being written down were not being read as a liability when they still could have been managed. In that same category of failure, accurate accounting of what goes into a reservoir and what comes out is the quiet, unglamorous work that undermines whether a field stays a manageable asset or turns into something or somebody else's problem.